After the dust settled at the Granicus River, a new era began for Asia Minor. Alexander, the young Macedonian king, wasn't just a conqueror. He was a master strategist. He knew that to truly hold this vast territory, he couldn't just tear everything down. So, what did he do? He kept the Persian administrative system, the satrapies, but placed his own man Calas in charge of the first one. This single move was brilliant. It sent a clear message to the Greek cities of Ionia. Alexander wasn't a barbarian destroyer. He was a liberator, a stabilizer, and the cities responded. One by one, they started opening their gates to him, not as a conqueror, but as a welcome change from Persian rule. His first major stop was the legendary city of Sardis, the former capital of the Lydian kingdom. The Persian commander there didn't even put up a fight. He saw the writing on the wall and surrendered the city and its vast treasury without a single drop of blood being shed. Alexander, in a show of respect for local customs, climbed to the city's Acropolis and made a sacrifice to the local deities. He was showing that he wasn't there to erase their culture, but to integrate it. This act of political savvy won him immense goodwill and set the stage for his next major stop. The magnificent city of Ephesus. Ephesus was one of the jewels of the Ionian coast, famous for its incredible Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Tragically, it had been burned down by a madman on the very night Alexander was born. When Alexander arrived, the city welcomed him with open arms, having just overthrown their pro-Persian rulers. Seeing an opportunity, Alexander made a grand gesture. He offered to pay for the complete reconstruction of the magnificent temple. There was just one small condition. His name had to be inscribed on it. The Ephesians, in a wonderfully diplomatic move, politely declined, saying it was not fitting for one god to build a temple for another. Despite this, Alexander's offer electrified the city. He had won their hearts and loyalty, securing a vital port and a powerful ally without lifting a sword. But not every city would be so welcoming. As Alexander moved south along the coast, he reached Miletus. This city had a history of rebellion against Persia and was now garrisoned by a tough group of Greek mercenaries loyal to Darius. They were determined to hold out, hoping the massive Persian fleet, which was sailing right for them, would arrive in time to save them. It was a race against time. Alexander's much smaller navy, commanded by the brilliant general Nicanor, managed to beat the Persians to it. They blockaded the harbour just as the Persian armada, 3 times their size, appeared on the horizon. The Persian fleet could only watch helplessly from the sea as Alexander's forces began their assault on the city walls. The siege of Miletus was swift and brutal. Alexander's siege engines hammered the walls, and his soldiers poured through the breaches. The city fell quickly. Now, Alexander had a choice. Standard practice would be to execute the defiant mercenaries and sack the city. But he did something unexpected. He spared the surviving mercenaries, even offering them a place in his own army. He also strictly forbade his soldiers from looting the city. This act of clemency was incredibly strategic. It told other cities that resistance was futile, but surrender, even after a fight, would be met with mercy. It was a powerful psychological weapon that would save him countless lives and time in the campaigns to come. His next challenge was Halicarnassus, a city with formidable defenses and a commander to match, Memnon of Rhodes. Memnon was the commander of all Persian forces in the west, a brilliant Greek mercenary general in Darius's service. He was Alexander's true rival in this early campaign. Halicarnassus was his base, and he had filled it with his best troops and prepared for a long, grueling siege. This would be no easy victory. The fighting was some of the fiercest Alexander's army had yet faced. His men threw themselves at the walls, but Memnon's defenders fought back with ferocious tenacity, launching counterattacks and setting fire to Alexander's siege towers. The battle raged for weeks. It was a bloody, grinding affair. Alexander was right there in the thick of it, fighting alongside his men, his presence a constant source of inspiration. Eventually, the Macedonians' relentless pressure began to tell. They breached the outer walls, and the fighting spilled into the streets of the city. Recognizing that the city was lost, Memnon made a tactical decision. He set fire to parts of Halicarnassus to cover his retreat, pulling his forces back to two incredibly strong citadels by the harbour. From there, his forces could escape by sea and continue to harass Alexander. Alexander had taken the city, but it was a costly victory, and Memnon had slipped through his fingers. This whole experience at Halicarnassus solidified a crucial realization in Alexander's mind. The massive Persian fleet was his biggest threat. It could land troops behind his lines, cut his supply routes, and support coastal cities that defied him. Chasing it down on the open sea with his smaller navy was too risky. So he devised a bold, counterintuitive strategy. To defeat a navy, he wouldn't fight it at sea. Instead, he would conquer the land. He decided to march along the entire eastern Mediterranean coast, capturing every single port and harbour. By taking away all their bases, the Persian fleet would have nowhere to dock, nowhere to get supplies, and nowhere to shelter from storms. It would be rendered useless, withering on the vine without a single major naval battle. It was a grand strategic vision of breathtaking audacity. With this new objective in mind, Alexander turned his army inland, marching towards the heart of Anatolia. His winter march led him to the ancient city of Gordium, the capital of the old Phrygian kingdom. And in Gordium, he found something that would become central to his legend, the Gordian Knot. This was an ancient, incredibly complex knot of bark tied to an ox cart in the city's temple. An old prophecy declared that whoever could untie this impossible knot would become the ruler of all Asia. For centuries, people had tried and failed. It was a symbol of an unsolvable problem. Alexander, never one to be deterred, examined the knot. The legends give us a couple of different versions of what happened next. One says he simply puzzled over it for a moment before realizing there was no rule on asterisk, how asterisk it had to be undone. He drew his sword and, with a single powerful stroke, sliced it in half. Another, more practical version suggests he simply pulled out the linchpin from the yoke of the cart, which loosened the knot enough for him to unravel it. Either way, the result was the same. The knot was undone. That night, a great thunderstorm broke out, which the priests and Alexander's followers took as a sign of the gods' approval. The man who cut the knot was now, by divine right, destined to be the Lord of Asia. The prophecy was fulfilled, and Alexander's aura of destiny, of being more than just a man, was sealed. With Asia Minor largely secure and prophecy on his side, the path to the heart of the Persian Empire now lay open before him. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.